Before we start, please make sure that you switch off your mobile phones. Even if you think you have switched it off, please bring it out. Everybody bring it out. Yesterday evening you heard, yeah? Everybody bring it out, your mobile phones, and switch it off. At the same time, there'll be people walking in a little bit late. Anyone who sits beside you, do not hesitate to tell them, switch off your mobile phones now. They would have not. So you don't want to be disturbed, just tell them, switch off your mobile phone now. Especially when we have a guided meditation, we don't want one disturbance, otherwise it is pointless. Yeah. Simple. So anyone sitting beside you, it's your responsibility. Please sit straight, close your eyes gently. Keep your back, neck and head in a straight line. Let us together chant Om, and afterwards we'll chant the Maha Mrityunjaya mantra. After our initial invocation, Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhi Tamastuma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityormukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityormukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityormukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityormukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityormukshiyamamritat. the discovery of truth or the recognition or realization of our own essential eternal nature is possible only through knowledge. But to have abidance in this knowledge, even to gain this knowledge, we require certain preparations of the mind. First and foremost, we need a calm, peaceful, pure, and single pointed mind. All our sadhanas, whether puja, japa, etc., are to bring about this preparation of the mind. And this is easily achieved, and all of them are achieved through mantra japa. But mantra japa also is in various stages. By itself, mantra is a vibration that can calm our mind down. When this mantra is done with devotion, with the right bhavana, it has the power also to purify our mind, because the ideal that we hold on to, we repeat in our mind, as we think, so we become. So the Ishta Devata that we worship in that mantra, with the mere adoration of that deity, also purity of mind takes place. Mantra itself has the power, it's a certain type of vibration. Every thought is a vibration. That vibration helps to even purify our mind. Then, in the mantra itself is the indicator of truth. And therefore, knowing the meaning of the mantra and turning our mind's direction single pointedly towards that which the mantra is indicating. With that knowledge, when we contemplate, we come to discover the truth. So meditation is in all these stages. Very often people understand meditation as only calming the mind. You might as well go to sleep. It is probably some way of calming the mind through some music, etc. Mantra has got all this effect on us, but it is much more than calming your mind with some music. So all this is required, and we have explained to you how mantra is at first it is a vibration. Let us first take the simple meaning of this Maha Mrityunjaya mantra, first to understand what is the simple meaning of it, and then stages we go deeper and deeper in the contemplation of it. Now we understand meditation only as sitting down and closing our eyes. But as you are listening and as you are being shown what the mantra is indicating, you are in contemplation. And when you are sitting alone with your eyes closed, with the initial preparations of meditation, then in the seat of meditation, when you contemplate, as we go through, not just in the understanding, but once we've understood the meaning, what the meaning is indicating, we hold our mind in that direction single pointedly. That is called as contemplation, which leads us to the state of abidance, the state of meditation. This is first the understanding. We will also go through the practice of bringing about this calmness, this single pointedness. Very often, in the name of meditation, what goes on is just some means of temporarily quietening the mind. But that quiet mind has to be led to abide in the knowledge that we have gained from the scriptures. And here, knowledge means not some word meaning, not some information, but the discovery that this am I. This is the truth. For example, if I tell you this is a harmonium, is it direct knowledge? I'm not talking about direct into aproksha and proksha. But when you say that this is a harmonium, it's an instrument for playing music, and I play the music on it, your knowledge of it is direct knowledge, is it not? I'm not talking about pratyaksh, praman and all those things. The knowledge takes place when I tell you this is it. No? And you have a firm faith in the means of knowledge, in the praman. So knowledge takes place. But to free our mind from all doubt, reflection is required. That's why, see, Gurudev also, when he started the Chinmaya mission, first and foremost, Shravan directly from those who know. Then Manan, study groups, where you have your discussions, etc., so that you can remove your doubts and it should become a conviction. And then this habit of constantly identifying with the false, to remove this viparita bhavana, is contemplation, nididhyasan or dhyana. The whole path we have to first understand. Then even what this one mantra is communicating to us, even the path is being communicated to us. Yeah? So this mantra, the Maha Mrityunjaya mantra, first we'll see the simple meaning of it. Yajamahe. Always in Sanskrit verse, first go to the verb. Yajamahe. The word yaj means to worship, to adore. So, I adore, I worship. We'll go into deeper meaning of each of these words. But I worship. Who do I worship? Trayambakam. Trayambakam, the one with 3 eyes. And with our Puranas, etc., we know the one with 3 eyes means Lord Shiva. So we worship the one with 3 eyes. So Trayambakam Yajamahe. And adjectives are there like Sugandhim to Trayambakam. Sugandhim, one who is fragrant, which means Lord Shiva has got a very good perfume on. Sugandhim, who's fragrant. Because you might think, he's Shamshan Vasi, living in, funeral grounds or cremation grounds. He's staying there and, absolutely not like Lord Vishnu. See, you can see the contrast. Yeah. Vibhuti Dhari. That's why probably people who wear vibhutis nowadays are so fragrant, because the vibhuti has got musk in it. Yeah. Sugandhim, one who is fragrant. We'll see a deeper meaning of all of them. And who is a fragrant personality? One who has got all virtues. Then we say such a person is a very fragrant personality with good vasanas in common. with gunas. They are called a fragrant personality. So, Sugandhim, Pushti Vardhanam, one who nourishes our growth, makes us grow, makes us develop, makes us reach our highest potential, makes us reach our infinite nature. So, Pushti Vardhanam. And the prayer is Urva Rukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiya. So, Mrityor Mukshiya. Mukshiya, liberate me, free me. We all want freedom. And free me from Mrityu. Free me from death. But free me how? Free me Urva Rukamiva Bandhanat. Mrityor Mukshiya. So free me not in a troublesome way. Because sometimes when you pluck something, it's very painful. Free me from this death. In which manner? Just as a ripe cucumber or a pumpkin is effortlessly separated, severed from its bondage to the creeper, in the same way, free me from this bondage of death. And there's an added Ma Amritat. In a hurry, it doesn't even seem to be a complete sentence. Ma Amritat. Not from immortality. So free me from mortality, but not from immortality, which means may I not be taken away or may not lose my life not attaining immortality. So it's a very beautiful prayer. As we said, mantra has its power. The Devata is the Lord of death himself, the Lord of dissolution, Lord Shiva, who alone has the power over life and death. So we pray to that Lord that please free us effortlessly from this bondage of life, which is death. Let us be free from it, and never should we ever fall away from our seeking of immortality. Let us not lose our life without attaining this immortality. So such a beautiful emotional prayer it is, that even with just emotions, we pray like this to the Lord. Otherwise, what we keep asking, we go to temples, we go to places of worship in every religion, and all we ask for is something so trivial, something so finite. If we have to ask, then ask in such a way that we never have to ask again anything more. And when we are asking the supreme, all-powerful, all-compassionate Lord, why ask for something small? Ask for something big only. There's a very famous story, I don't know if you know it, but it's a very famous story that there used to be a dancer. And these dancers, unfortunately have to dance for the people to collect money, a livelihood, etc. But one of those very famous dancers of that time, having danced for the lusty eyes of many, many people, men, when she got a daughter, she didn't want her daughter to go through what she went through. Yet she can only bring her up as a dancer. And she kept her daughters away from the eyes of all men. Trained her in dancing and made her the most fabulous dancer and groomed her to be a most beautiful woman. But all this time, she only taught one thing to the daughter, that you will dance for no ordinary person. You will dance only for the king and nobody else. You will dance only for the king, that's it. By the time, her friends, her co-students all came of age, they had their arangetrams, they had their presentations, they went out, they were in demand, men were falling for them. This young girl didn't have the opportunity to reach to the king. It's not going to be an easy goal. Sometimes troubled, sometimes disturbed, sometimes enthusiastic. Somehow this girl went through all this, but the mother said, "You're dancing not for." The word spread for everyone, towards everyone. People came with purses of money. "Let us just have a glimpse of your daughter." And she said nothing doing. Even the daughter sometimes fought with her mother, but still trusted her mother's wisdom. And finally the word spread to the king that this girl is waiting only to dance for the king. So one day she was finally invited. And now the mother said, "Now, my daughter, whatever I've taught you, present it. Today is your day." And the way that girl who had never danced in front of any man's eyes, she danced in such a way, the king was so pleased that he went on throwing his jewels for her, everything for her. Just his jewels, his ring, everything, he started just throwing on her. And at the end of her dance, he said, "Oh pretty one, you have danced and thrilled my heart in such a way that I am ready to give you whatever you want. I have given you all these, but this is all." Just like Yamraj also says to Nachiketa, "I have given you all this, but ask something more. So ask me what you want." Now, what you would expect from a young girl that, get me a good house, get me a good piece of land and secure me, etc. Or give me a job only to dance for the king. All these things. But this girl was so touched by the generosity, the goodness, the kindness of the king, who demanded nothing for himself, but was ready to just give her because of her dance. She looked at the king and she said, "Why ask from this king who is ready to give me anything out of his wealth?" So she looks at the king and says, "I want you. I want to marry you." What a wise girl, isn't it? That why take something little, whatever you take. That's why you see when Arjuna and Duryodhan both went to Sri Krishna, wanting him as an ally on their side in the battle, Krishna said, "Both of you have come. One can have me, other can have my entire army with its weapons and its loyalty. What would you ask? One more mouth to feed?" And he says, "I will not pick up any weapon." Who would you choose? Krishna or the army? I know all you say Krishna. But when you go to the temple, do you ever say, "Krishna, I want you," or "Krishna, give me Lakshmi"? So if you have to ask the very Lord of Death, just like Nachiketa did, he's come to the portals of death and he asks the Lord of Death, "Only you know what lies beyond." Yamraj is ready to give him even Brahmalok. But he says, "No, I just want this knowledge that what lies beyond death." And what death that Nachiketa asks for is very different from our understanding of death. Therefore, Mrityur Mukshya. If you are the Lord of Death, you only have got right over life and death. Free me from death. And that too also as effortlessly as a ripe cucumber is separated from the creeper. Not traumatically. Free me from death. Now what is death? We understand death as the final end of our life. That when a person is dead, he doesn't see, he doesn't hear, smell, taste, and is gone. Gone means, we say gone, which means somewhere he must have gone, no? But we say, he's finished. Is death the end of everything? If you see very carefully, the whole life, if you see, that which has got birth will have death. Which appears will disappear. What is created will also perish, because it is come in time, it is going to go in time, or it's going to perish in time. So if you carefully observe, what is birth? We celebrate birthdays, is it not? Somebody is born, we celebrate. But what is birth? In fact, Gurudev used to joke that even in India, rather than going on to temple and taking blessings on your birthday, nowadays it is have a birthday party. So we celebrate birthday, is it not? And every birthday party we have to have a cake nowadays. And on this cake we put candles of as many years that person has lived. But always remember, after 30, you are 30 something. Which is truth. 30 something. Because even the candles you can't put on that cake. So very cleverly we put, one candle for 30 and then one for every 10 years. And what is this ritual? People criticize religious rituals. But what is this ritual? Every year you get one smushy dessert, and in that you put these candles, and then you light up that candle and you tell the child or you tell the other, blow it at one breath. Now when there's one or two candles, they can blow it. When there are 60 candles, and at one breath you are supposed to, especially when children are doing that 5th birthday, 10th birthday, and say, one breath you blow it, and they go. First of all, blowing off light, what is it? Inauspicious. Then putting spit, unhygienic. And everybody claps, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. But Gurudev says, what a wonderful ritual. Because every birthday reminds you what? How many years have already passed away and how closer you are to death. Every birth implies death. And what is birth? Is it the production of something totally new? It is only a change of state. When you say that from the gold a ring was born, the name and form was created. But was gold created? And the name and form can be dissolved also. Now you dissolve the ring, and out of that, it must be a heavy ring, you make a chain. The ring is dead, but the chain is born. Now look at it in our life also, in this one life. For your youth to be born, your childhood has to die. For your adulthood to be born, your youthfulness has to die. So what is birth and death? They're like two sides of a coin. Birth of one implies the death of a previous state, and death implies the birth of the next stage. So what is birth and death? We celebrate birth, but we are frightened of death. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna points out to Arjuna, He says, what is there to fear? Now you see, link it up with the evening talks also. Abhayam. Death is birth and birth is death. Because whatever dies is born again in a different form. Because even scientifically, we know that nothing perishes. Even matter and energy do not perish. We're not talking from mithya standpoint, not from its illusory standpoint. But even in this world, the quantum of mass and energy remains the same. Only it converts into another. So death of a mass becomes energy, and energy grossified becomes mass. You think that mass is destroyed in a nuclear explosion, but it is released as energy. So birth and death are two sides of a coin. If birth we celebrate, why do we cry over death? It is birth of a new state. And birth and death implies only change. And therefore, we are not only afraid of death because we think that death is a final annihilation, but we are also afraid of change. So, birth and death is nothing but change of states. And we are afraid even of change. It's so funny, huh? We want one thing and we are afraid of it. Have you heard before marriage what these courting couples tell each other? I hope after marriage you will not change. And after 10 years of marriage, they'll tell each other, 10 years of marriage, no change has come in you. Do we desire change or we desire changeless? Make up your mind. What is it? On one side, we look out for change, and on the other side, we want that which is changeless. And therefore, there's this constant dichotomy that is going on in our mind. We have got resistance to change. See, when the government changes also, we find it we get used to even say a bad government anywhere in the world. The risk of a new government, we are always afraid, isn't it? The company CEO changes, we are afraid. Any change, we are afraid. And when things don't change, if they are not conducive, we complain also. Nothing is going to change here. I'm telling you, nothing is going to change here. In this office, everything is like that only. There's going to be no progress whatsoever. Therefore, in every company, change management, staff leaving, change management is a big subject. And in life, constantly, everything is constantly changing. Even your body is changing. And especially as you grow older and older. When you're young, you're managing, but you don't realize that you're managing, or you have to manage. You mismanage everything, that's fine. But as you grow older, you have to manage your health. You have to manage your diet. You have to manage your lifestyle. So change itself is death. And don't we fear change? We have resistance to change. We have to adapt to change. Otherwise, we will suffer. Therefore, when you say Mrityu, it is not only what you understand as death, birth is also Mrityu only. And if you have a larger perception of it, a larger perspective of birth and death, then death does not appear so terrible. Because birth is another form of death only. Change is also death. Change of one state, birth of another state. Change is also death. Then, when the change is not conducive to us, we experience restlessness, sorrow. And is it not living in sorrow we consider as death only? As good as dying only? And therefore, when people have got so much sorrow and there's not even hope of happiness, they'd rather die than live. So, living in suffering itself, we consider it to be like death. Even a person put in jail, with absolutely no interaction with their own relatives, family, etc., don't they consider that life like death only? Yeah. So living in sorrow itself we consider as death. And we rather die physically than to go through those sorrows, those pains, those suffering. Yeah. Therefore also living in illness, when there's so much pain, etc., not only physical, mental illness, though, is even worse. I mean, it's a fad these days to become depressed. 50 years ago, we didn't even know what was depression, and where did you find people depressed? Now, 5-year-old children are on antidepressants. Use a vocabulary and you will find yourself in it. Why don't you use it as Brahman? How easily, learning the vocabulary of depression, you become depressed. So now you can understand, by knowing Brahman, you become Brahman. You're not laughing on this one, no mind. Don't be so depressed. That we doubt. Living in depression, you know how people live in darkness, they do not want to. That's why they even become suicidal. So living in illness is death. Living in depression is even worse death. And therefore sometimes to live also an unproductive life. Not that a person who is paralyzed or something. Even that person you say is almost, no life, totally paralyzed, like a vegetable, sometimes we say. But there are people who have made what not. Stephen Hawkins, if you hear. In our country also, those who have been disabled, or let us say differently abled now, like Deepa Mehta and all these people, sports people, what all they have achieved. But to live an unproductive life, as good as death only. We wonder, why does that person live also? And very often when we consider ourselves to be so useless, unproductive, that itself is called as death. And there's another death that Sri Krishna points out to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, for a person who has attained fame, even those who falsely attain fame, tabloids and page 3s, any scandal also, they attain great fame. That's why for them bad publicity also is good publicity. At least people know about them. But for one who, as Guruji has pointed out in the birthday song, Punya Karmana Kirti Marjaya, that through righteous actions, those who have attained fame, through their effort, through their work, through their goodness, those who have attained fame, not that false fame, those who have attained fame, and you should attain fame in life. And fame comes to those who have been productive, those who have done something, those who have achieved something, those who have got goodness in them. They only become popular. Even those scandalous people also become popular. But we are not talking about even them. They cannot live without fame. That's why you find these, very often, these big rock stars, movie stars going through depression, even suicidal. Many of you must have heard of the past ones, because when they start losing their popularity, and you have to be very careful, even those who retire from, their businesses, etc. Especially men. They don't know what to do with their life. Then they also sit there and start watching Saas Bahu Ki Kahani. TV serial. And they themselves are uncomfortable because they've been people of action. Yes, everybody at a certain age must retire and do something for their spiritual progress, etc., and be productive in that manner. Most husbands at that time become very productive in complaining to their wives on how they should run the kitchen. And those wives that complained that for the last 50 years you were never there for me, now doesn't want him anymore. Such an unproductive life is considered as death, but Krishna points out, for one who has attained fame, like Arjuna, defame is worse than death. In Japan and all, they actually perform harakiri. If you are in debt or something like that, rather than living a life of defame, great people, what sacrifices they have done. Not because they were attached to fame. Those who are attached to fame, it is worse than that. But they had to make such sacrifices because their fame is an inspiration for many. And therefore they could not afford even defame. So, defame, loss of job, loss of position, loss of so many things in life, especially the respect of your younger ones. This is worse than death. Now when you understand Mrityor Mukshi, I am explaining all this, that don't think Maha Mrityunjaya mantra only, that a person is ill and dying and suddenly will come back to life. While living itself, how many people are only dead? That's why nowadays very popular amongst the youngster is all these horror movies, and there are hundreds of them about the living dead, zombies. But how many people in this world live like zombies only? Unachieving, unproductive. It is worse than death only. See how this word death, which means Maha Mrityunjaya mantra, not only teaches us and gives us the strength, ability, perseverance to go through the various changes of life, also helps us to get over our sorrows and tragedies and grievances of life. It is also that which inspires us to live a life of productivity. Not only removes our illnesses, but our inabilities. Not only makes us grow into fame, whether it is spiritual growth, whether it is wealth, productivity, etc., your talents, etc. So understand, Mrityor, that word, how many facets of meaning are there in that word Mrityor? How much limited is that even when we ask of the Lord? In short, free me from death means give me a life of inspirational, dynamic productivity, by which I attain that fame where even my name becomes immortal in this world, but I also attain immortality. Yeah? So how many aspects about, that's why it is said Maha Mrityunjaya mantra can remove our sickness, illnesses, etc. It can remove even mental depression. Yeah. You must be thinking, no, but something it cannot do. Cannot switch off the mobile phones. So this is all, if you understand the meaning of the word Mrityu, and then you can understand what is the benefit of this Maha Mrityunjaya mantra and what are we seeking from this Lord with 3 eyes. So Mrityor Mukshya, and there is one more death which I will tell you towards the ending, because something you have to keep for the end, no? So all these facets of death you must understand to understand the larger implication as to what are we invoking from this Lord of 3 eyes. Now, what does Trayambakam mean? Gurudev used to laugh and say that, somehow or the other, people will think that our Hindu gods, and God has to be very different from us. Because if he's same, God, Guru, realized master, if he doesn't have a horn or a tail or a jata, yeah, or looks different, behaves different, he's just like us only. So what difference? Therefore, even gods have to be a little bit different, either with 4 hands or 3 eyes. And Gurudev used to laugh and say, you think they're biological freaks? What we see is an artist's depiction of what they hear of the great deities, When we say Trayambakam, first and foremost is that the Lord of the universe is one with 3 eyes. 2 eyes, we know, we have also 2 eyes. So he has to be special, no? So he's got 3 eyes. And these 3 eyes of Lord Shiva, our scriptures have pointed out, and even for those who want to learn management, those who want to be leaders, we're going to be having a talk for even leadership on Sunday. Those who want to be leaders, those who want to manage, you have to have these 3 eyes. The first eye of the Lord, of Ishvara, of Bhagwan, is the eye of justice, eye of discrimination, eye of justice. Now when you say eye of justice, justice is not about punishment. We understand God only very often in most religions of the world as that who will punish you for what you have done wrong. A law is made to protect us, to guide us, to facilitate us, not to harm us. Just like traffic laws. They are made so that the traffic will move smoothly, and traffic from all sides, not only you but others also should move. So, when we see this world is made up of laws. Otherwise, it would not be a cosmos, it would be a chaos. And therefore, all our sciences are possible, which is only understanding these laws and using these laws in our favor. This is called as dharma. Living in harmony according to these laws will bring about productivity. The fact that there is law, there has to be an intelligent law maker. And the fact that the laws are still being followed there has to be a powerful law governor. These two things don't forget. And that Ishvara, that Lord, must have a clear eye of judgment to know what is right and what is wrong, and give the fruits of action according to what actions we have done. Therefore, he is karma phala data also, to give us according to our actions. Otherwise, someone who's done nothing will get a lot of wealth, and the one who works hard doesn't get anything. Now you say, that's exactly what happens in this world. I think he's managing it very badly. I work, everybody thinks, I work very hard. I do everything. Whatever we get is just only. Now, if we got the just result of everything that we do, a good leader has to be fair and just, but also has to be compassionate. People will make mistakes. There's a difference on a deliberate thing done and a mistake that happens. Therefore, an eye of compassion. Really speaking, if we all had to suffer for every mistake that we did, we would not be able to live. As you can say that many of our sins have been forgiven. And therefore, one thing that is also pointed out, living in adharma and living a sinful life against our own ideal, our dignity, our own values, our own principles, and our own nature is also called as death. Therefore, many of the things that we do might deserve death for us, but he is a Lord of compassion also. A leader must have both these. Judgment to give the right result to everyone, and that also should not be harsh. It should be compassionate. A leader has to be firm sometimes, so that everybody gets their just result. But at the same time, has to have that softness, the compassion, by which not only understanding is there, but out of that love, like a mother, like a father, forgiveness is also there. But forgiveness is never that you repeat that action. So that eye of compassion. And the third eye, which is very special in Lord Shiva, is the eye of wisdom. Now, when you say eye of wisdom, now everybody, those who want to learn meditation, can your guru open my third eye? You confidently say yes. And people go to open their third eye. Today it's a very expensive affair. Yeah. On the internet you will find many such surgeons, not medical surgeons, spiritual surgeons who can operate your third eye and open your third eye. In the 70s, there were plenty of such books floating around. The opening of the third eye. Maybe you go to China and they'll do some acupuncture somewhere here, and the third eye is here. And then we even question, but the third eye of Lord Shiva, is it like this or is it like this? Because if it's like this, there'll be totally lack of coordination in vision. Biologically, it is an impossibility. You would have a total distorted vision because With two eyes you will see people like this. The third eye you'll see them like this. That's why I think God has got a warped vision in any case. And what is this third eye, opening of the third eye? Also called as Jnana Chakshuhu. Shankaracharya says, Jnana eva Chakshuhu. Knowledge itself is the third eye. Therefore, it's called as the eye of wisdom. The eye that Einstein had to discover relativity, which our rishis explained long before as mithya. But we understand that with what eyes does he see? That's the third eye, which our two fleshy eyes don't see. With what eyes does Da Vinci and Monet capture the play of light on water? You don't see it. With what ear, what eye does an expert musician discover sounds and the harmony of sounds? With what eyes does your mother find out that you were in love? Tell me. With what eye a grandfather can laugh over, not be terrified of the grandmother, when he plays with his little grandson a game of breaking and fixing. It's a nice grandfather game. A 4-year-old, 3-year-old kid. Nowadays they can Google that also. So you can't play these games with them. If you were to put that silver spoon in a glass of water, don't tell grandma. Don't tell your mummy. You just bent the spoon. But with which eye do you see that it is due to the refraction of light into mediums, a dense and less dense medium, that in your vision you see the spoon bent, but actually it is not. Therefore, when he gets so frightened and he says, "Oh, grandpapa, I'm not going to tell grandmama. She's going to get very upset with you. No, I don't want her to scold you." He said, "I'll not also tell your mummy because she's also going to scold you. So let us not tell." But dad, granddad, grandpapa, how are we going to fix this? So grandpapa said, Alcatraz, Palcatraz. Or let's do Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Do Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Now close your eyes, Om Namah Shivaya. Takes it out from see, magic. Till the child grows up and develops this eye of wisdom. What's the color of the sky? In Hyderabad, it is grey. Isn't it? In Chennai, it is grayer. In Delhi, it's almost black. You have to come to Coimbatore to see it blue. Or Siddhabadi to see it blue. Now, is the sky blue? Your two physical eyes see it as blue. But it's with the eye of knowledge you know that it is not blue. You see a mirage on the highway, water when you drive. But do you slow down your car? Because with which eye do you see that really there is no water there? That eye of wisdom, you can see what the world you see is like a mirage, not really there. And God, which you don't see, is actually real. So we invoke the one with the third eye. Trayambakam yajamahe. So that great meditator, Lord Shiva, the one with the three eyes. And what is the sign that your third eye has opened? What is that sign that you have become a meditator? That we will tell you tomorrow. There's something we have to leave for tomorrow also, no? And there's still much wonderful meanings. And this itself is contemplation, please understand. Okay? Sit straight, close your eyes. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiya Mamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Now, having had this much basis of knowledge, tomorrow we will take you through guided meditation, because you have to know what to meditate.